Good morning again, this is Chris. Wanted to talk a little bit about the advantages of having someone who does on-site repair or on-site visits, as we are going to be doing with Liacris Mobility. But last Thursday I got a call from a longtime customer and their computer would not turn on. I mean, this customer does not have a great deal of computer experience. I mean, they know how to turn one on, they know how to use it, and they know how to turn it off at the end of the day, but that's about as deep as it goes. And so we were talking on the phone, and by the way, if someone calls and wants some advice, I generally don't mind giving a little bit of advice. I mean, I worked a really long time to gather the knowledge that I did, but and I don't like to give it away for free. That's just the way it is, and I think everybody's that way. Who works a long time to gather knowledge and learn how to apply it. I mean, that's worth something. That has value, and so it deserves to be paid for. Having said that, if you're a long-term client and you call me up and you have a question, I will do what I can to help you over the phone. And even if you're not a long-term client and you have a question and it's not too difficult or it's not too convoluted, then I'll take a few minutes and try to help you out. But once we start getting in over 5 minutes, then it's time to cut the conversation short, and you need to decide whether or not you're going to spend some money on this. Because if you don't know how to do it, and I know how to do it, then I deserve to be paid for being able to tell you or do it for you, whatever it is you need done. So that's kind of the base. That's the ground rules. So anyway, she called me up. She said her computer would not turn on. The monitor turned on, the computer didn't turn on. I said, well, I told her maybe it's just locked up. Press the power button for 10 or 15 seconds, that'll turn it off, and then restart it and see what it does. Well, she said she did that, and the computer still would not turn on. She said the green light would come on for a minute, then it would go off. And I thought, that is really strange behavior. And it's really something I need to see in order to find out what's going on. So I told her, I said, I'm just going to need to come over there. She said, okay. Well, I get over there, and the desktop is in sleep mode. I can tell because the power indicator light is flashing on and off at a very slow rate, which is the Dell desktop, and that's what they do. That's how you can tell. And most computers do have some kind of flashing light combination of sorts that will tell you that it's asleep. And so I tried pressing the power button down, and it would not shut off. I held it for about 30 seconds, and it still would not shut off. And that's kind of strange behavior, but you know what? Things like that happen every now and then. And so, the only alternative was to pull out the power plug. So that's what I did. And then I plugged it back in, hit the power switch, and voila, it came right up. And no problems either. That was good. I always hesitate to just use the power switch to turn something off, but when you're in a desperate situation like that and the computer's not responding to anything, that's just what you have to do. And so it turned back on. She checked it out, and here's the value of me coming there. First of all, I was able to clearly see what was going on, and immediately, I did step number 1 of the flow chart, troubleshooting flow chart. Then you go straight to step 2. Step 1 was press the power button until it goes off. Did not happen. Go to step 2, unplug the machine. And it took me all of 5 minutes to do all of that. Well, it shouldn't have taken much longer than that anyway, right? But, I came, I saw exactly what was going on. I was able to handle the situation quickly, and most importantly, I think, to me, as someone who wants to be sure that they do a good job with integrity, I was able to sit there. I was perfectly willing to sit there for as long as it took for her to get back on her computer and check out all her programs and make sure everything was working exactly the way she expected it to work. And about 10 minutes later, she said, yeah, everything looks good. Send me a bill. I love people like that because they appreciate what I'm doing. And that is the value of having me come and look at your computer setup, because then I can see things. I don't care how good you are at explaining things. Sometimes there are situations like this where you just can't. You've got to see it. And And so that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about doing this mobile service, is because I am going to be able to ensure that I have 100% customer satisfaction, and that is incredibly important to me. That the only pitfall of having a shop and doing things for people and then not having the time to sit down with them and make sure things are right is that sometimes something won't be what they expected, or it won't be working right. It was some obscure little thing that they were trying to do. The computer's working fine in general, but there's this one thing they want to do, it's still not working. And I've had that happen several times. And they're not happy, but then people tend not to call. I don't know why. They don't want to be bothered to have to come back up to the shop. So I hate having those kinds of loose ends out in the world. And so yeah, I'm really excited about that aspect of going mobile. So I will be able to be absolutely sure that everything's fine. Like tomorrow morning, I'm going to a house. I'm going to put in a Wi-Fi repeater, and we're going to make sure that they have good Wi-Fi signal throughout their house, because they don't now, because it's a huge house. It's like 6,400 square feet. So I'm going to be able to see that, and rather than give the guy the part and say plug it into the socket, hit the button, and wait a few minutes, and it should work fine. I'm going to be there. Now they're going to pay a little extra for that, but it's going to be worth it, and then when I leave, I know it's working properly, and I don't have to. If I get a phone call from them and they say, well, something else is not working, then okay, then that's another visit and that's another issue. But I can do things as they come up, and I can make sure they're right. So that's very important to me. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. Part of our reason for doing what we're doing, and the reason why we do things. It's important to understand that. So we hope that you will call us if you need some kind of computer service. I think $25 for a house call in the Oxford area is incredibly value packed. I really do. And it works for me too. So hey, you call me, I'm perfectly happy to come. You'll be perfectly happy when I leave. And so that's what it's all about in customer service and me making a living. Yeah, let's just keep it real.